So I titled the show, and this is actually kind of perfect timing. Arnie's here too. But anyways, I titled the show today, You're Going to Be a Millionaire. And I really want that to sink in with people right now. And my point is that I'm not asking how much Bitcoin you have or saying that at this point you're going to be a millionaire. I think that if you're in Bitcoin right now, in any amount, with any allocation to Bitcoin, you're going to be a millionaire one day. And I think it's very important to differentiate a millionaire and somebody with $1 million worth of purchasing power, because I would argue that there's 63 million millionaires in the world right now. There's probably 2 million Bitcoin available. So we're going to see a shift from the people who have wealth in the existing system to the Bitcoiners who have wealth in the new system. But the point is that even if you're a millionaire today, if you had $1 million in the bank today, that $1 million doesn't go anywhere near as far as it did 5 years ago. It might even go half of what it did. So I had a new term here. What did I call it? A minnow. Minnow, M-I-N-O. Millionaire in name only. That's pretty much what millionaires are right now. Because yes, they have $1 million, but that $1 million only buys about $500,000 worth of stuff. And that's kind of the only thing that you need to really worry about is how much does it buy you? Because whether you're talking about dollars or Bitcoin, nobody wants dollars and nobody wants Bitcoin. You hold that with the idea of buying something in the future. So you add value to the world, you get that currency, dollars or Bitcoin in return. And you don't want that. That's not the end goal. You don't want to own Bitcoin. You want to own something else. Bitcoin's the vehicle that allows you to do that. So I think that anybody who owns Bitcoin today with a long enough time horizon is going to be a millionaire. And let's say you're somebody out there who has one whole Bitcoin. And I'm going to show the clip here. And I want you to think about that. If you have one Bitcoin and things play out how I expect them to, and also how American HODL expects them to, then you're going to be a millionaire, which is kind of crazy to think about. If you have one Bitcoin and things play out this year like I expect and he expects, you're going to be a millionaire, which is crazy because when you're growing up, even today, like you probably know the people in your life who are millionaires. It's kind of like what people fantasize about when you're a kid is being a millionaire. And I think it's going to be hard for a lot of Bitcoiners to really comprehend the fact that, you know, this newfound wealth has made them a millionaire. So it's kind of crazy. And you have to start preparing yourself for that mentally and for that physically in terms of your Bitcoin security. You have to understand what you're holding here. So let's take a look at this. Let's watch this video and see what American HODL says, because him and I think very alike. I think that if American HODL and I ever got together for a beer or two, I think that we would have a pretty good time. So here's American HODL talking about his predictions for this year.
Stars are starting to align, and they're gonna, like, they're probably accumulating it as we speak right now, and then they're gonna make an announcement at some point. That would be my guess. I have no insight. Obviously, I have no idea if they are. They should do it, right? They have a crappy, declining, dying business, and they have a lot of cash. So what do? Like MicroStrategy, you buy Bitcoin and you rejigger your business. So they have the possibility to become like another strategy if they play it right.
I saw something on Twitter the other day that the amount of MicroStrategy copycats in no.
Whoops, that was the wrong spot. Okay, let me go back here. It just opened up, I guess, where I was left off watching. But
back in the 70s.
But
I think that I was thinking we'd have it like kind of creep into the 3s and then up to sort of 3.5 before the year ends this year. It's looking more like now that inflation is going to start declining, like it started in February, which I had anticipated. And I think we're going to see it kind of creep lower and lower. And if it does that, if we can get some relatively weak economic surprises, that can cause the Federal Reserve to get on board with doing more kind of quantitative easing, keeping interest rates lower instead of raising interest rates because of higher inflation. That's also very good for risk assets, and it's fantastic for Bitcoin. So, man, I'm just optimistic. So I don't think we get a 20x from here, but I think we have a very good year in 2025.
Let me give you a wildly optimistic scenario here, because like I might be more optimistic than Jeff, and I think that a 10x is not off the table, and within the year. And the reason why I believe that is because we're sort of at this stage in Bitcoin's adoption where we're really playing with fire, like we're cooking with gas now. Like nation, America, the most powerful nation state on earth, is talking about doing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So if we get that, I think $1 million is very possible, and certainly north of $500,000. Now, if we don't get that, then that's a different story, and it might be a little bit more muted in terms of what we've come to expect. But if you get an SBR, that's the starting gun on the global SAT race, and basically every nation state on earth has to have their piece of the pie. And who is their piece of the pie being held by? A bunch of autistic retards on the internet. So they got to buy it from you, man. You know what I mean? And like they're going to have to bid that up for a higher price so that you're willing to part with it, because there's a lot of crazy psychopath hodlers who've just been out here hodling for a long time. And I think, something like greater than 70% of total Bitcoin supply is held by people with between 1 Bitcoin and 10,000 Bitcoin, right? And if you think about who those people are, that's us. Those are the people that listen to live streams like this, that hang out on Bitcoin Twitter, that are on Bitcoin Clubhouse, that are, MSTR degen. Like those are the guys, right? Those are the guys who have the coins. And so the things that those people believe, guys and girls, the things that they believe ends up affecting how much Bitcoin is saleable on the market at any given time, which, price comes from the margin. And so that affects price, right? And so like, not only do hodlers set the floor, but they also, in no small way, I think, dictate the ceiling. Like, so what prices you are willing to accept as a OG hodler, don't sell yourself short. Like, you have a lot of power over the trajectory of this thing. If we all simply didn't sell our Bitcoin, the price would be gajillions of dollars tomorrow, but some of you are weak, and you need to buy stuff. I don't know what you're buying, but I'm just kidding. I sell a little too. I live off of it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, lots of people need to learn from their mistakes, and I did too, right? Like I didn't take the advice of the smart people when I was first here. I was a degen trader.
Man, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? I feel like I've heard that somewhere before, that 70% of the Bitcoin is owned by us, and we're going to be the ones who get to decide what they pay for it. Because there's only so much Bitcoin available. And if they want Bitcoin, they're going to have to get it from us. And the beautiful thing about it is, like, if you think about the people that he was talking about there, the Bitcoiners, the people who are here now, when he says OG Bitcoiners, I don't think of somebody who's been here like 10 years ago. There's not many people left that were. I think the OG Bitcoiners are the people who are here today, the people who are watching this stream, in this chat, on Nostr. That's the OG Bitcoiners, and that's what you have to think of yourself as. And so the people, the OG Bitcoiners right now, they think differently than other people. They don't have any sort of desire to buy new sneakers or buy a new Lamborghini or buy whatever. If you've been here for a while, you've sacrificed a lot in your life. And you don't need that stuff to make you happy. You've kind of come to the understanding and realization that it's not money that really makes a person happy. And so as this shift happens, where we start having countries and states and big corporations and the rest of the population and AI, as all of these people are wanting Bitcoin, that's going to have to come from us. They can't print Bitcoin. And so as a OG Bitcoiner, think to yourself, like, how much would it take for you to part with 100% of your stack? For me, it's probably in the hundreds of millions, if not more. And the reason I say that is because I know what this thing's worth, and I don't even know what I would do with $100 million. I'd want to buy more Bitcoin. Like, what would I do with $100 million? So then you kind of drill down a little bit and you say, okay, well, if that's kind of what I would take for 100%, what would I take for like 5% of my stack? And if they started getting 5% of everybody's stack, that's going to be, a sizable shift of power here of Bitcoin, from the 70% to the 30%, the good guys to the bad guys. And so you say, okay, 5%, maybe I'll pay off my debt, which, you know, if you ask me, isn't a great idea. Selling your Bitcoin to pay off debt. Maybe you buy a new truck. Maybe you buy a cabin somewhere. But the point is that you're not going to ever really need to part with your whole stack. So they're going to have to just keep running the price up and up and up. And the beauty about that is that the higher they run up that price, you think about the things that you want that you would buy if the price did run up, you're going to have to sell less of your Bitcoin. So the longer you wait, the higher they run up the price, and the less of your Bitcoin that you're going to have to part with to get the things that you want. It's a beautiful thing. And so that's why I say, if you are somebody who's holding Bitcoin right now, you are going to be a millionaire one day with a long enough time frame. But it's going to be up to us to kind of push that forward. It's up to us. So I want you to start thinking about that in terms of, like, you're going to be a millionaire. You need to start thinking about that in your mind. You have to start preparing for that in your life. You have to start putting things in place so if something were to happen to you, your family gets that wealth that you're thinking about. And there's good ways to do it. It's not something that happens overnight, but it's something that takes time for you to implement into your life and build out your security. So on that note, I mean, this isn't going to turn into an ad or anything, but if you do need help with that, if you're thinking like, holy shit, I have a significant amount of Bitcoin, I believe what he's saying, this is going to be worth a lot in the future, and I'm not anywhere near prepared for that right now. Even if that were to happen in 5 years, I wouldn't be prepared right now. So I would just say, like, set up a call. I have a website, a link, email, just get a hold of me. We can set up a call. I do have a value for value option now where there's no set rate. You can just book like a 30-minute call. You can run things by me, ask questions, get a second opinion on things, and then you can pay me whatever you think it was worth to you. I think that's the right way to do it. So that's what I'm doing.